Despite China's strong opposition, the signing of a bill on Xinjiang by the United States is another flagrant act of interference in China's internal affairs and an arrant display of U.S. hegemony and double standards. Under the guise of human rights and religious freedom, the so-called Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act of 2020 smeared and attacked the widely recognized fruitful anti-terrorism efforts in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. The U.S. move on Xinjiang is typical of its double standard in anti-terrorism that it intentionally deems China's legal and righteous steps as human rights violations. In fact, China's fight against terrorism and extremism is consistent with the United Nations principle of combating terrorism and safeguarding basic human rights. The U.S. ulterior motive behind the legislation is clear: to contain China's development and sow discord between China and other countries. However, such fatuous acts are doomed to fail. Rather than groundlessly slandering China, the United States should solve its own grave and pressing human rights violations. The tragic death of African-American George Floyd in Minnesota last month is just a tip of the iceberg of serious racism perpetuating in the United States. A much bigger tragedy is the coronavirus death toll of more than 116,000 in the United States, which is undoubtedly a direct consequence of the U.S. chaotic response and disregard for the basic human rights, compounded by its institutional failure. China's Xinjiang is in its best period of development, featuring ethnic unity, social stability, economic development, and improvement of people's well-being. From 2014 to 2019, Xinjiang lifted nearly 3 million people out of poverty. Currently, there are about 24,400 mosques in Xinjiang, one for every 530 Muslims. The ethnic language and culture are well protected in the region. The double standards and the hegemonic acts of the United States go against the trends of history. It is imperative for the United States to rectify its mistakes immediately before they inflict serious damage to the China-US relations and itself in the end.